Hey, welcome to T4 Adventures. Today we are putting on fender flares from Super ATV because my last adventure in Cloudcroft, I don't know if you watched those or not, it got real muddy. And so these fender flares would have been nice for that trip. I just didn't have time to put them on before that trip. So these 30-inch tires with the 2-inch spacers widened our stance. So all that mud, guess where it was going? If you're the driver, it was going all up on your left arm, and I had about a big old mud ball about that big land right in my lap, and yeah, it basically racked me. That was not fun. So if you don't want to get racked by big balls of mud, then put these fender flares on. All right, we're going to start with the rear fender flare, and so the first thing we have to do is we have to drill out 3 plastic rivets. So we got 3 plastic rivets there. Oh, so it's going to be hard to get the drill and the drill bit in here with this tire on, so they suggest that you take the rear tire off. So I already have the machine jacked up in the back, so I just jacked it up that way, and I got it on the stands. I got the front wheels chocked, and now we're going to take the wheel off. So for me, I have my DeWalt Impact 3/4 inch impact. This will take all the lugs off. It's 11/16 on your 2023 Kawasaki Teryx. So let's go ahead and get these off. All right, there's our Super ATV 2-inch wheel spacer. It's been doing a great job for us so far. I got a 1/4 inch drill bit and then 5/32. So I'm going to start with the big one and then go with the smaller one. Yeah, it gives us a lot more room here taking that wheel off, so definitely keep that in mind. Taking that wheel off, it does help out tremendously here. Alright, so the basis of drilling out these 3 plastic rivets is to release the outer panel with this inside panel structure. Now then, we just have to pull this down and over. I'm going to have a lot of dirt and debris coming out. Well, not really debris, just dried up mud that's collected in there. All right, we got 3 of these nut clips. We got to get these on the inner piece right here. So this piece here is going to go up under the machine. The flat part is going to be facing down because the bolt's going to go all the way through this way, and it screws into this piece here. On here. Ooh. We got dust all over you. Put our last clip in here. Try to line it up as best as you can. There we go. Now we've got to put this back in here. There. Not too bad. All right, so here is our left side rear piece. This end here where the notches are cut out, this is going to go towards the front. So those 3 rivets that we just drilled out, it's going to be these 3 holes here. There, there, and there. There's one more hole at the very end. We're not going to worry about that till we get these 3 in. All right, so let's get our first bolt and nut, or well, little countersink washer actually. And let's just get one of these and put in place. So these bolts, they're like an Allen wrench head. So what I have is these little guys right here. I bought a whole set of them from Walmart. They're not very expensive, and it's a 1/2 inch chuck. And this goes into your drill, your impact drill. So this is a 5/32 size Allen. This makes it a little bit easier and quicker to get all this done. So on this fender flare, you're going to have a rough side and a smooth side. The smooth side goes down. That's what's going to make contact with all the mud being flung up. You don't want to tighten it all the way, just get it a little bit loose. There we go. That way we have room to maneuver it if the other ones aren't lining up very good. All right, now that we got those 3 in place, let's go ahead and tighten her up. All right, so next step is to this very end hole here. This very end hole right here. We're gonna, let me show you out here from the outside. So what we have to do now is we want to make sure and get rid of this gap when we drill that hole. Now this hole here for this end piece is going to go into the plastic right here. So you just want to push up in here, and then with your other hand you're going to drill. All right, we're going to use the 1/4 inch. So on this single one here at the very back is going to be a 1/4 inch drill bit. Main thing is we're just going to press underneath, get rid of that gap, and then drill our pilot hole here. So let's get this put in. Okay. There we go. And you'll be able to reach the back side. It's kind of open back there. So what I use is I use my drill with my 5/32 Allen on it, and then I have a 10mm open end wrench. 10mm wrench. Put it on the back side of the nut, and well, I got to get my drill ready. My 5/32 Allen on my impact drill, and we just tighten this up. Now we're going to move on to the front part of this fender flare. Okay, so we got 2 holes to drill with our 5/32. So you want to use the smaller drill bit because we are putting in a self-tapping metal screw. And we're going to be using our impact drill once again to drill this in. Sorry, all my parts are on the other side because I did the other side already. So it's a 3/8 head on this self-tapping metal screw. So I'm just going to put that on my impact drill. Makes life so much easier and quicker. So once again, same thing. We have some curvature stuff going on here. So we just want to make sure that all this is up and tight when we go to drill our holes. So you want to kind of get those holes towards the center of the frame. And then you want to push up a little bit. And then we're just going to drill our hole. Let me get what we need. We need a flat washer. So our big flat washer, and that's just going to go like that. So the washer is going to go between the head of the bolt, the screw, and then on the back side of the fender flare. And then this washer, or alignment washer, is going to go in between the fender flare and the frame. So we'll get that in place. In there. Pretty nice. See, it's a nice little fit right there. This Fender flare kit is specific for this model. So if you do go and order this, make sure you put in, you know, your make, model, year, all that stuff, all the information it asks for. That way, you know, you're getting the right size measurements of everything that you need. All right, let's drill out this last one, and then our rear driver's side fender flare is going to be done. Our rear fender flare is installed. Not too bad. Let's see how it looks. Okay. See how sturdy it is. Pretty sturdy. Pretty nice. All right, let's get our rear tire put back on. Uh-oh. This, hope that wire wasn't hanging around in the video the whole time. Sorry about that. I get knee deep in this project and I forget to check details, little details. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so what I did was I determined all the front, right, left sides fender flares, and I just put them in the seats. Right, so I know this one is my left front, and you just have to look at the directions, it'll tell you. So this end here is going to go towards down here. Okay. So now then, this one here, the front one is a little bit more to it, or a little bit more going on than the back one. It takes a little bit longer. You are going to have to drill some holes in your plastic right here. Let me show you what that looks like. It's not too bad. They give you some really nice countersink washers and bolts, so it don't look too bad right there. Just make sure you put them in the right place. So we get our brackets here. We have 3 brackets that's going to go to the front here. So this bracket here, this is the first one we're going to do. Get you a Sharpie with a nice pointy tip on it, and we're going to mark our holes, and then we're going to drill. So the bend right here is going to match with the bend right here, and you want to get the bottom flush with the bottom of the plastic. So you want to get right there in the middle of that bend, and you want it flush on both sides, and then we're going to mark our holes. Next, we're going to drill them. We're not going to worry about we have another hole up here, but we're going to drill these holes first, because we have to measure from the center of the hole to get our to find our third hole. So these 3 holes here are going to be 1/4 inch drill bit. I know it's kind of scary drilling holes in your plastic. As long as you get them in the right spot, you know, just take your time. Just take your time, make sure you get it in the right spot, line everything up, make your mark, make sure you're drilling on your mark, and then you'll be good to go. All right, let me get my tape measure. We got to go 3 inches and 3/16 over, and we have to measure from the center of this last hole and to the center of our new hole, which is going to be over here towards the very front. And same thing, this is going to be the bracket for it, and it needs to be flush. So once you determine your distance over here, you just get this over here, get everything lined up, and then make your mark, and then we'll drill our 1/4 inch hole. Easier done than said, right? So what I do, I get the end of my tape measure right in the center of that hole, and 3 inches and 3/16. So that's going to be between the 1/8 and the 1/4 mark. So I'm gonna just put a little bitty dot right on that spot. Kind of where I think it'll be flush, and then I'm gonna get my bracket, and then now I can make my more pronounced dot, and that's gonna be my hole that I'm gonna drill. All right, let's drill that hole. All right, got our holes drilled. Oh, it is scary, isn't it? All right, so when you're doing this front fender flare, when you're putting it on these front pieces and you're attaching the flare to the machine, you can get everything snug, but don't like really tighten it down just yet, because once we get all this done, there's going to be another step here. Then we're going to have to uninstall it. We're going to have to take it off, because we have to take this panel out, and you'll see when we get to that step. Okay. So if you have a nice little work table that you can use, that would be good to make things a little easier. So what we got to do now is we got to attach these brackets to these front holes right here. So that's the two, and then that's that one there. So now we just have to make sure which side is which. So the rough side is going to be what you see on the outside of the machine. The smooth side is going to be underneath. That's going to be catching all the mud. So just keep that in mind when you're putting these brackets on. Now these brackets, you want the threaded part of the bracket up away from this piece and back towards right there. So it should look like this. Now we're going to take our bolts and then our countersink washer we're going to put underneath. Go ahead and get both of them on there. So now we go like that. Now we're going to take our nuts, put on there. So now I'm just going to tighten these up. Go ahead and do these all the way tight. That way it bends the fender flare into place like it's supposed to be. Now then, we're going to do this bracket the same way. We just want to make sure that it runs parallel with this edge. There we go. That's what it should look like right there. All right, so here's what we look like. Now this needs to go in between this plastic and the shrouding stuff underneath. It needs to go in between those two things. Now we're going to get this put in place, and then we're going to go ahead and put the bolts in. So we're just using our regular bolt with our countersink washer. Again, all three of these. All right, now then we have this hole here. This is going to be our next step in getting this fender flare put on. So now we got our L bracket. We got to take our normal bolt, countersink washer, and then we got to take this L bracket. So the long end is going to attach to the fender flare, and then the short one is going to attach to the frame. So this bracket goes underneath the mud flap, the fender flare. So the long side this way, this is going to go up against the frame. So all right, let's get this put underneath. Now put our washer and our nut. 5/32 drill bit to drill our hole. So we want to push it up like this to get everything nice and flush here. Okay. So now we just need to hold this here and then drill our hole. And then again, this is going to be one of these countersink, well, not a countersink washer. This is the alignment washer. This goes against the frame. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay. Okay, so it's just going to be the screw going in the back side of this L bracket, and that going right there. All right, let's get that started. There we go. So that is cinched up there pretty good. Now let's head on to the next steps. So our next step is we got to take 3 bolts out behind the door panel here. All right, so what that did was it loosened this panel. So you got to take this panel off. Okay, so now those 3 bolts allow for this panel to come off. Now we have one more thing that's attaching this piece, and it's underneath here. It is one of those plastic rivet push things. Just get it right up in here, and you can find, there's the bottom part of that rivet right there. So you just got to pop the head off of that plastic push rivet. Just got to pop it up off of there. Okay, for the next step now we have to take the fender flare off. So we got this piece off of here. Okay, so that plastic rivet, I got that out underneath here. And then, okay, a note here. These plastic rivets, they're real easy to break. I ended up breaking that one, but I'll leave a link in the description box so you can order some extra ones. I had already pre-ordered some, so I broke some on previous projects, putting in lights and stuff like that. So it's good to go ahead and get you a big bag of those things. All right, let's take this thing off, and then we'll show you the next what we got to do. So now we're just going to take this off. That's it. All right, so when you take this front fender flare back off for this next step, best thing to do is just do these right here. Leave that bracket attached to it. Okay, so we need to take our fender flare just like that, and this piece here, we want these holes away from the fender flare. Now turn the fender flare up this way, this way. We're going to do it this way. So then this back side with no holes is gonna, you want this to get flush with the fender flare. So if you don't have a second pair of hands, somebody to help you, get some clamps like I have here. So what we're going to do, we're going to get this flush right here, this whole corner. I'm going to get this in place, and don't cover up your holes because we got to mark it, and then we got to drill some holes there. So let's get, there's going to be 3 holes to drill. All right, now then, once we determine here, we're going to take our marker and mark the holes. So 3 of them. This one here, you just kind of have to wrap it around with your thumb. and then mark it. All right, now we can take off the clamps, and now we need to drill with our 1/4-inch drill bit 3 holes where we marked it at. So let me get my drill. Okay, now we got to install 3 clip nuts. That's these things. So we want the threaded side on the inside of this piece here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and join these 3 together, or join these 2 pieces together with our bolt and countersink washer. So let's make sure we get this right, like that. Like this. So the front one is definitely harder to do than the rear one. There's a lot more involved here. So just follow step by step and you should be all right. So, just got to put it back in place correctly here. Try to get a little better view. All right, so this part here is going behind the frame. So there, that piece is going to go up in there where it's supposed to go. And then this is going to go up underneath. All right, let's get these 3 bolts put back in place. All right, now we got to get our plastic rivet up under there put in. Since I broke that other one, I'm going to have to go get one of my new ones and put that in. All right, I got that new rivet put in for that piece that goes around underneath there, and that's it. We're done. So there is our fender flare. The front one looks pretty good, and there is our rear one. That's not too bad. The front one's a little harder than the back one, but if you follow the steps, just pay attention, detail what you're doing, and you'll be fine. All right, well, we got our fender flares on. Like I said, the front ones are a little more hard to put on than the back ones. A little bit more going on there, a little more involved, but follow those instructions. You know, just pay attention. The main thing is just lining up your holes to begin with, so you only want to drill those holes once into your plastic. That's for sure. Anyway, I hope this video helped. If you decide to get these fender flares, I hope that kind of going through it with this video helps you along. So give me a thumbs up, I appreciate it, and we'll see you down the road.